What do you think your life would look like after 10 years of self-development? 10 years of bettering yourself. 10 years of difficult, uncomfortable lessons learned. Imagine that. And it feels like I've done that recently, and I'm gonna explain in this video how I've been able to compress so much self-development in such a small amount of time. And ultimately, I think that's what a lot of us are after, is just being a better version of ourselves. That's what everybody says all the time, right? I just wanna be the best version of myself that I can possibly be. But what are you really doing? What actions are you really taking to make that a reality? Well, I'll tell you the actions that I took. And there's really three things that I did that I want to touch on. And the first thing, most notably, is I gave up alcohol for a year. I used to be a big partier. I went to college. I mean, who am I kidding? I'm still a big partier. I don't even know why I said that. But I used to drink a lot in college. I was in a frat. I went to the University of Arizona. Very fun time. Love partying. Love being social. No shame in admitting that. But essentially, I had this situation, which is a time for another video. You can go check out my other videos about my 1 year no alcohol challenge that is almost over. But the reasons why I gave up alcohol, essentially I just had like a negative association with it towards the end of me giving it up for a year, where I was like punishing myself for drinking and being hungover and shit. So I gave it up for a year. I decided, let's do a 1 year challenge. And boy, oh boy, has that been a lot of self-development over the last year. I think I'm on day like 355 or something like that. And the amount of development of my character and who I've become and the depth at which I've gotten to know myself over the last year from just being sober is insane. I would, let's be clear here. I wasn't sober the entire time, but I did not have a single sip of alcohol, which was the only thing that I really kind of like had a issue with. And so anyways, I would say some of the biggest areas of which I developed myself with the no drinking was just with the social skills. I still went out, not as much. I still went out. I still went on dates. I still did a lot of things in which it would be super normal to have a drink or to get fucked up. And I would just do it anyways. Go to concerts, go to clubs, do whatever. And I wouldn't drink. And that allowed me, it enabled me, it forced me to be better at socializing. It forced me to get comfortable with uncomfortable situations. It forced me to get comfortable with, I think everybody has a little bit of social anxiety. Like hardly anyone are you ever gonna meet that's gonna walk into a bar crowded with drunk people and not be a little bit like I don't really feel super comfortable here. Like, you know, it's a little bit weird. But anyways, I digress. That has been an amazing journey of learning and getting better at talking to people, getting better at talking to women, introducing myself to strangers, making friends, making those little comments and things that, you know, maybe I wasn't comfortable saying before without, you know, a little bit of liquid courage or whatever. So that has been incredible. I've also just, I think your mind like expands and opens up when you're not doing a lot of drinking or drugs or whatever. You get so much clarity. Like there's like, you give up alcohol and it's like after a month, you're like so clear. And then after 3 months, you're like even more clear. You're like, whoa, like how is my brain functioning so well? And after 6 months, you're like, oh my God, I am just like expert level, like so fucking smart and sharp and whatever. And then like maybe towards a year, I guess you feel it a little bit more, but 6 months is kind of where like I felt like that capped out. And so I think from that clarity came so much self-development, came so much like reflection and just getting clear and getting honest about what I want, what I don't like in my life, what I'm not comfortable about. Because with drugs and with alcohol, a lot of times we don't realize what we're doing, but we're practicing a form of escapism where when we're uncomfortable about something, when we don't like our job, when we don't like our relationship, our friend or whatever, it's really easy to forget. Because we can just drink and get drunk and then you forget. You get wrapped up in partying and dancing and laughing and, you know, that brain fog, that cloud that kind of comes over your brain where you don't really have to think about the things that you don't like anymore in your life. But when you remove that, when you're not constantly escaping, even if it's minor, like I still think that like you don't need to get blacked out to be escaping. Like you just on a Tuesday night, you go and you come home from work or whatever and you don't like it. And like maybe your girlfriend, your long distance girlfriend is like pissing you off or something. And you're like, fuck, I'm going to go meet up with the boys and, go watch the game and drink some beers. Like you're kind of escaping. You're basically saying like, I don't want to face what I'm dealing with right now that I'm uncomfortable with. I don't want to have that difficult decision. I don't want to sit in my room and have to realize that I don't fucking like my job and what I'm doing with my life. So I'm just going to go like forget about it and fill my brain with like other things that give me like dopamine and serotonin and whatever. So I think without that, there's so much self-development, which is crazy. And that just allowed me to do so much reflecting, so much thinking. The next really big thing that I did that contributed to all this self-development in the past year was doing 2 dopamine detoxes. I will say the first dopamine detox that I did this year, which was the first one I've ever done, was like insanely powerful and transformative. And then the second time I did it, which was like a week ago, or actually less than a week ago, it was like a few days ago, was not nearly as transformative, but still really cool. But basically the first one was crazy. I gave up, I have another video on this if you want to check it out on my channel, but I gave up like, drugs of all kind, including caffeine, was already like off alcohol, obviously. I gave up TV, movies, music, sex and masturbation. What else? I feel like there's one more thing. Like I don't do video games or porn anyways, but like you gotta give those up as well. And I literally just spent my time like journaling, reading, working, walking, reflecting, like listening to old like voice notes, reading through my old like journal entries, listening to old like recordings that I have from like previous mentors and things like that. And I just did so much deep self-reflection. And I wasn't on social media either. Deleted all my social media apps, turned my phone into black and white so it was like extra boring. And that week was just like insane. Like so many thoughts, so many downloads. I was running my fitness coaching company at the time, and I was like having a ton of doubts and not having a lot of success around that. So it just like gave me so much clarity on like, this is not it. This is not your thing. Like get honest about who you are, what your strengths are, how you want to make money, what you want to do in your life. And I think because I was kind of already in this like transitionary period where I was like looking for another source of income, looking at some other things on social media, doing things differently. Specifically, I think periods of transition kind of create this space, I guess, or this opportunity rather in your head and in your life where you can go super deep and where it's really necessary to reflect on what's going on and what pivots you want to make. And so I think that was like a perfect time to do that dopamine detox. And I was just flooded with all of these ideas and downloads and reflections that like, it was like I was a 10 out of 10 on all those downloads and reflections. And normally I'm like a 3 out of 10. Like it was insane how removing all of these distractions and social media and dopamine and honestly many forms of escape allowed me to just like go super deep and just like pour out all of the shit that was in my head and gave me so much clarity on so many different things. It was just like, it felt incredibly life-changing. So I would recommend anybody that wants to do a dopamine detox, check out my other dopamine detox video that I have on my channel. I have a link in the description as well where you can download like my entire protocol for free. So that's pretty cool. And then the last thing that I would say is I moved to a new city. I moved to Austin, Texas, and met so many people, went hard on networking, lived alone. That is another thing which I guess can kind of coincide with the moving to a new city. But living alone, if you are living with a roommate right now or your friends or your family, like I know it can be great and it has its pros for sure, but holy fuck, dude, living alone is the truth. Just doing what you want to do all the time. You don't have to worry about anyone else. You don't have to think about anyone else. You don't have to be distracted. You don't have to be quiet. Like you can walk around naked. You can walk around talking to yourself like a schizophrenic maniac. Like you can just do whatever the fuck you want. It is so freeing. You're on your own schedule. It's just so nice. You just feel like a real adult. And like, if you can do it, I highly recommend it. At least try it out. Try it out for a year and just let me know how it goes. So doing that, moving to Austin, I knew people when I moved here. I knew guys who were like big into networking here. So I connected with them. I went to a bunch of events. I intentionally went out, made a lot of friends, went to bars sober, went out, like did all this shit. And now I can say in the city that I've lived in my life, the least amount compared to anywhere else, I have more friends in this city than any other city in the entire world. And I've only been here for 7 months. Like, that's pretty crazy. And that has allowed me to like build up my network, build up my social circle. And that in and of itself has been a form of self-development, because I realized like I fucking love making friends. I love people. I love being social. I love talking. I love making people laugh. I love being together with people. I'm a huge extrovert. I love making people laugh. I love hosting events and parties and going out, and like, I fucking love that shit. And for so long, I was convinced and I was telling myself that I shouldn't love that stuff, that I should sacrifice everything, that I should sit in my room and grind, and I should build a business on my own and make that bag and blah, 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 blah. And I just didn't fucking like it. I didn't fucking like that at all. So like pouring into this like social side of my life, which I've always been good at. That's always been like a natural talent of mine, is like making friends, entertaining people, and just being well liked, being a likable person, being a good friend and all this shit. And that's just been like so transformative and so crazy. And it literally feels like with all of those things happening simultaneously in my life, like starting a business, which fuck, that's another thing. I'm just realizing that's a fourth thing, is in the last year, I started my own, like it was the first time in my life I like bootstrapped solo 100%, started my own offer, started my own company, and like went for it. That was hard as fuck. Learned a ton of lessons, got kicked in the dick, lost a ton of money. Wow, I just thought of a fifth thing. If you're still watching this video, you're getting a fifth thing, which is crazy. I went fucking broke. I went completely fucking broke this year, running my business, refusing to get another job and source of income, not making as much as I can, dumping money into Facebook ads, buying an expensive apartment and like all this shit, and like probably spending too much money. Like I went fucking broke. I made another video on my channel if you want to look at that, where I explain like going broke. And that has been fucking transformative as well. It's been such a humbling experience, such a reset on life in general, of just like, I knew what it was like to make a lot of money, or what I thought was a lot of money, and then make none and be losing money. And like, wow, that is just crazy. Because I think a lot of times when you make money, it's really easy and it's a slippery slope where you conflate your self-worth and your happiness and your value to like your earning. Like you're crushing it, you're making a lot of money, you're closing deals, you're doing whatever, and you're like, oh, like I'm the fucking man, like nobody can touch me, I'm a G, I'm this and that, blah, blah, and like you feel super good. It's like this upward trajectory where it's like, I'm the man, you feel good, confident, making money, blah, blah, blah. But then like when you flip the script, or like something happens, because everybody knows success and money is up and down, money comes and goes, like then you kind of feel like shit. You're like, you feel worthless, and like that's tough. And so like being able to like hit a financial rock bottom and still be okay, and like I've had such a positive mindset the entire time. It's like I could say I'm down bad financially, but I'm not down bad. Like every other area of my life is thriving, and it's so crazy because I feel like my brain and my mind has been able to pull apart and literally separate my value from the amount of money that I'm earning. And that has been so powerful and so crazy to sit here with like no income at time, looking at my bank account going to zero and being like, I am happier right now, and I have more friends in my life, more people that love me, more things that I could do for fun and enjoyment and whatever than I did when I was making the most amount of money that I was ever making in my life. That is a crazy fucking feeling. And that's it. You got 5. You thought you were gonna get 3. You got 5. If you stuck around this long, join the conversation down below. If you wanna frickin' get 10 years of self-development in 1 year, maybe try out some of the things. Don't know if I would recommend going broke, but there it is. End of the video. Thanks for watching. Cheers.